Good afternoon. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now, Kentucky. We do have strong to severe storms rolling through now. We actually have 3 severe warnings that have gone up here over the last 5 to 10 minutes throughout the portions of the state. So things are starting to really get rolling now. So let's go ahead and begin our live coverage of this event here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the radar for you and get things rolling. If you would not mind, as you're coming into the broadcast, please tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. The reason for that, get this video out on your news feed and spread as much as possible. Get folks informed and up to date on what to expect. Help us with that. Please, we would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Of course, say hello as you're coming in as well, both on YouTube and on Facebook today. So we do have 3 severe warnings that I just told you about. I'm going to go ahead and read them off north to south here. So here's your first warning, severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and this is for the Nicholas and northeastern Harrison counties in northeast Kentucky. Back over here, just to the west of Lexington, just to the south of Frankfort, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, 1-inch hail, the threat there. And once again, that is going to be for Woodford, Scott, Anderson, and Franklin counties in Kentucky. Over here towards southeast, down here toward Frenchburg and Jeffersonville, that is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and 1-inch or quarter-sized hail there as well. Powell, Montgomery, Morgan, Bath, Menifee, and Rowan counties in eastern Kentucky. So 3 severe warnings, all for pretty much 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, some for some small hail. And this will continue to push east throughout the day. So for those of you that are about to ask me a ton of questions about locations, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that if you're out here toward western Kentucky, I don't think you see a thing today. You could see a very stray pop-up shower or two that could get strong, but overall that entire area pretty much is going to be left out of the action today. It's pretty much going to be from here to over here. This is your main area, and that's kind of fitting with our forecast. So if you did not see our forecast or the SPC's forecast, we'll go ahead and show you those as well. I'm going to pull it up real quickly. This is our forecast that we created yesterday. Just want to show you this real quickly. Let me make sure you can see it real quick. Okay. This is the forecast that we created yesterday, and it's kind of on par. It's kind of on par. I think we've made this maybe a little bit too far west. The reason for that, though, based upon yesterday's data, was the chances for a rogue severe cell or two out there. So we had to include it in the 2 out of 5. So if you ask me if I still would have put it there today, probably, just because, again, have to include it for that chance. But mainly from I-65 to points east, and that's where we have that orange zone as well. Also, if you look at where the orange zone is and where the current severe warnings are, forecast is going pretty good so far. Outside of the severe warnings, we do have strong thunderstorms that do cover that entire line. Over here toward Mount Eden and Harrisonville, strong thunderstorm box there, special weather statement, if you will. Another special weather statement box just to the east of Radcliffe and Hardin County. This is going to be headed up toward the between Bardstown and Mount Washington, more specifically Lebanon Junction, Brownington, Cox's Creek, for those places there. And another strong cell down here just to the south of Glasgow, down here toward Tompkinsville. But that cell's actually dying down at this time. Main action, once again, over here toward the Lexington area today. And I think that stretches back once again. So once again, if you're going to ask me about locations, I want to point out that this is kind of the general area that we're focused on for right now, where I'm drawing this line. You can almost make an imaginary line from this cell down here to this cell and then points east. I think that's pretty much all we're looking at today. I don't think this is a Kentucky-wide thing. Now, again, we do have the risk out here in western Kentucky just for the chances that something may pop up out there. But overall, the bulk of activity will be from this white line and then points to the east. I don't think anything to the west. You're looking at anything that's a guarantee at that point. Yeah, Lee, and again, it's going to be kind of spotty too, so I'm going to point this out. So this back line should fill in. So I'm going to delete this. This back line should fill in over the next couple of hours, but there will be gaps throughout the entire line. So it wouldn't surprise me, for example, if we see storm activity here, and then we have a gap here, and then storm activity down here. And so, and again, that's not 100%, exactly what's going to happen, but it would not surprise me to see something like that develop. Just because of the way the moisture axis is tilted. I don't think we're going to see a full-blown line of storms. There's going to be some gaps. And even with the lines that we see now, there are gaps in between. There's a gap here, there's a gap here, there's a gap up here, and then there's a gap back here where another one's trying to form on the western side of Hardin County. So, again, I can very rarely see a scenario where, for example, just to take example of my county, where, like, for example, Radcliffe saw that storm earlier, E-Town hasn't seen a thing yet. And that might be the case for some counties. So just because I say that a chance there does not mean there's a guarantee. Just wanted to point that out. Winds are about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now, Loretta. It is very humid. So here's I know a lot of people like to see this map here. This is the humidity chart, aka dew point. It is steamy out there. It is. I just got done grilling about a couple of hours ago. I made some smash burgers out there on the grill, and my gosh, it took me almost an hour and a half to just stop sweating. Even when I came inside, I took a shower, everything. I even took a cold shower just to try and cool off. But man, it is swampy out there. So best bet is to stay inside today, avoid the storms, avoid sweating for a couple of hours. It is disgusting out there. Temperatures aren't all that high. I mean, they're 80s, mid 80s, low 90s. That's not all that high for me anyway. But the dew point is just making it miserable out there. So here's your current heat index as well. Because of the dew point, even though the temperature is not high, heat indexes are above 100 degrees throughout spots of Kentucky. And if you're not above 100 degrees, you're either seeing a storm or you're close to 100 degrees on the heat index. So, and overall, just a disgusting Saturday. I do have some great news, though. If you have paid attention to our page over the last few days, you have seen us post multiple maps that display that the reason for these storms that are happening today, a cold front is moving through this weekend. Now, it'll be very slow. It'll be very gradual cold front. We have this kind of as a first wave. Sunday, it'll get a little bit chillier. And then Sunday night, and then Monday's where it really starts to kick in. So next week looks to be a beautiful week. Maybe some days of rain or of some light showers, but overall next week looks to be absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, Deborah. He's sleeping right now, but thank you so much. Over there on YouTube, odd since Western Kentucky usually gets the worst. It is pretty odd, but that's this time of year. So this time of year, so now we're going back in. I don't want to say this because I hate using this term because it just scares people, but we're going back in toward that second severe season. So we usually have two in Kentucky. Sometimes we get a third in winter. That's just how it goes. But typically there's at least two. So you have your classic April through like May, right? Where things really begin to pop off. Sometimes even March is included in that, right? And then a lot of people forget the fact that August through October, sometimes, especially when we're coming into a year where we're going into a phase where there's a La Nina coming off of an El Nino. What all that fancy terms means is the cooling or warming of the oceans out there to our west. Whenever we change phases like that, especially at this time of year, it typically leads to a little bit more activity here in our general area, like the Ohio Valley, not even down here toward the Tennessee Valley, going down to the south toward Alabama, Mississippi, those places down there, Arkansas, Missouri. So that's just this time of year. So we're going back into that steadily. I don't think we're going to look at anything super robust, but we have more ingredients to work with. As I want to point out, the last couple of months, if we have seen severe weather, it's mainly been Cape based or sun based or heat based. Now we're getting back into a little bit more wind energy, a little bit more dry air to work with. So it's very humid at the ground, right? Where you walk outside, you're sweating everywhere. You're sweating everywhere, right? But at the 5,000, 7,000 feet up in our atmosphere, it's extremely dry up there. There's a lot of dry air. You can actually see that on this map here. So this map, if I can pull it over without absolutely breaking my computer, oh my goodness. So this map here shows us, where it's a little bit moist, a little bit, dry up there. This is a water vapor map. So this brown or yellow that you're seeing is actually dry air. So you can actually see that there's no really humid air above our heads except for where it's storming at. There's dry air that's surrounding the state. So it's actually helping to prevent overmixing, which leads to no cap in place, which is why we're seeing storms being able to pop up left and right. I mean, look at this radar. 30 minutes ago, this was almost empty. Now we have 5 severe warnings in the state. So things are really beginning to pop off now. I want to mention there is a new severe warning out here for the Sandy Hook area. Let's go ahead and read the bulletin there. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the main threat. Morgan County, Johnson County, Rowan County, Elliott County, and eastern Kentucky. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are the threat there. So that's going to be the main theme today. By the way, guys, I don't see a tornado threat today. So if I haven't seen too many questions just yet because I've been going over data. But if there's anyone's asking if there's a tornado threat or anything like that, I don't think we're looking at that today. Matter of fact, I believe the SPC completely dropped the tornado threat. Let me go ahead and look. I think they did anyway. Yes, they did. So there's no SPC saying there's no threat. We're saying there's no tornado threat. I don't think we're looking at a tornadic threat today. And matter of fact, I think the hail threat has pretty much dropped off as well because these are going more towards surface space. Usually, with having a hail threat, they need to be a bit more elevated in the atmosphere. Can we see some hail today? Yep. we can, but it will be very, very small hail, likely only marginally severe for the hail. The main threat, and pretty much the only threat, damaging wind gust. I don't see a flash flood threat really as well. We've had a lot of time to dry out the last 5 or 6 days after we saw all of that rain to end July with and open up August with. We've had a week or two to dry out. So I don't really see a flash flood threat unless he's just sit here in eastern Kentucky for hours and hours and hours. So really the only threat today is going to be those 60 to perhaps even 65 mile per hour wind gusts that may occur. So I think you're looking at that as your main threats. I just want to read this bulletin real quickly. Okay. Adrian says, how fast is the storm in Bardstown moving? These are all moving at about a speed of 20 to 30 mile per hour, so not very fast. So think about how fast you'd go in a residential neighborhood. That's about as fast as these storms are moving. Becky, thank you for your 100 stars on Facebook. I appreciate that. E-Town storms can pop up anywhere between now and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. These are very sun-based storms. There's a lot more scientific, terminology behind that, but in very layman's terms, these are very heat-based storms. So I think once the sun starts to set around 8 to 9 p.m., we'll start to see these storms lose their energy a little bit, start to die down. So that's why the main time frame is anywhere between like now and 8, maybe 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Live is canceled. I don't watch 24/7 videos. Then leave, Cody. I don't understand when people have to be so negative on the internet when I know that they will never say nothing like that to my face. You know what I mean? I can't stand that stuff. I can't stand that stuff. And we're not doing a 24/7 video. I've been live for 12 minutes. Like, what? Okay, right back in on this bulletin here. I'm going to go ahead and check the actual other radar as well and see if we can note any possible areas of stronger wind gust occurring. The only bad thing about where these storms are located right now out in eastern Kentucky is they're all kind of in a radar gap. So it's going to be pretty difficult to read velocities. Yeah, not Cody Park. Some Cody I've never even seen of on YouTube that has a cop's profile picture. He's still living in, I guess, 2008. But I'm sorry, I'm on my immature stuff today. I don't feel well. I have not felt well for like 3 or 4 days. I've got like a stomach bug or something. So if there are any trolls in here, just be warned. I'm not dealing with it today. I'm just going to start banning folks. So please just avoid it. Jocelyn, pretty much. I mean, anywhere between like now and 8 p.m. Eastern times. I usually don't, Scott, but like I said, I haven't felt well today. I made the mistake of going outside and grilling today in the middle of all this swampy air. So I'm admittedly a human being. I'm a little bit cranky, but we're gonna do our best here. Jesse, I don't think so. So I don't think we're looking at anything for tomorrow. Let me go ahead and show you because I know a lot of you like to look at Sunday and the weekend all together, which I do as well. So I'll go ahead and show you tomorrow's just real quickly here for those of you that may have plans for your Sunday. So here's tonight's stuff. You can kind of see it. The HRRR model has actually done pretty well. I didn't think it would today, but so far it's done pretty well. Here's the outlook for tomorrow. So I don't think we're looking at anything too crazy. Could see some more pop-up storms tomorrow. I don't think they're severe. Let me click on this. Admittedly, I have not looked at Sunday too much. Usually we take it one day at a time. We're focusing on severe weather. Yeah, I don't see anything here. Just a real quick glance. That prevents storms. That's definitely not high enough. That's not high enough. Yeah, I don't see anything here. Let me fast forward this a few hours to make sure out here in eastern Kentucky. I'm just doing real quick glances here. That's not high enough. That's not high enough. That's a little bit higher. That's a little bit high. I think we could see some strong thunderstorms tomorrow, but I don't think we're looking at a severe risk. And once again, that's mainly out here for like the Somerset to Bikeville to Richmond area, down here to Monticello and Harlan, Kentucky, and that southeastern corner of the state. Elsewhere, spotty rain showers as the cold front continues to move through. So here's your cold front, by the way. Let's go ahead and pull this out to the regional view here. So not going to be any nameplates on, but that's because we can't look at nameplates. We have to pull this out a little bit. So here's your cold front I want to show you. So we have this warm air moving in now. These deep oranges, if you look down here to the bottom of your screen, if you can see it, let me make sure you can. Yeah, you can. So if you look down here, you'll see that these are your deeper oranges and reds and everything. Your yellows, well, deeper oranges, reds, and then going up here, those are your warmer temperatures. Your yellows going back down to your greens and blues. Those are your colder. We won't see any green or blue. That's usually only winter time. So the more yellow you see here, the more cooler it gets. So here's now going into Sunday. You see the more yellows moving through. Actually, do see some greens showing up. That's almost freezing level, by the way. That's actually up there toward the Great Lakes. But you can see the yellows are sagging in Kentucky. Even some greens starting to show up. So a big cool down on the way for next week. Here's your temperature outlook just for Monday. I'm not going to go into anything further than that, but here are your highs on Monday right here, guys. 76 degrees in Hardin County, 74 degrees down there in Bowling Green, Warren County. So you can see it's quite the cold front. It's quite the cold front. Now, I know we don't usually associate 70 degrees with cold, but when you're talking about the middle of August, I think any of us would like to see 70 degrees. Here's your lows, by the way, for Monday, and this will continue to get colder, by the way. The low for Monday, looking at about 55 degrees for most places, and I think the cold front really settles in by Wednesday, so I think we get colder than this. Look at this up in Indiana, 46. By the way, I think 40s for lows, and some days next week, maybe like Wednesday and Thursday, definitely possible for Kentucky. Let me go ahead and switch to a longer range model here. This is not as accurate, but here's your high for Tuesday. Once again, mid-70s, maybe a sneak of 80 right there in the southwestern portion of the state, but that's it. And then it's back down into the 50s, and then same thing for Wednesday and Thursday. And then it's going into Friday, starts to warm back up a little bit. So the cold front starts to ease back up a little bit. And as we get to next weekend, we might have another severe risk, but we'll cover that, down the road. That's way too far out to try and forecast right now. But overall, there is some relief on the way. So we'll take the storm chances today, because we know that this is coming with a bit of relief. By the way, Lexington, you are now included in that severe warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-sized hail. More specifically, I-64-75 corridor there. And then going back toward Midway, Versailles, Georgetown, Clabber Bottom. Once again, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts scattered throughout this entire line here. I want to go ahead and check the velocity out here. We do see some showing up there. So this is only going to show about 40, but I think this is probably definitely gusting up to 60. So very solid severe warning there by the NWS out of Louisville. Going up here toward northeastern Kentucky, more specific, Flemingsburg, Mount Olivet, Shannon. Strong thunderstorm going on there, but it is not severe up there northeastern Kentucky. Same thing can be said for Maysville. Out here for the Moorhead area, let's go ahead and switch radars over here toward Jackson. And let's go ahead and measure here. Just want to take a look in here. So we do have a downburst. So where we see this green next to this red, typically a lot of folks would associate this with rotation, but when it's really broad like this, that's a downburst of winds. So what that's telling us is this is going to a downburst of up to 60-mile-per-hour winds in Little Sandy, Sandy Hook, Newfoundland, New Dewdrop, and the places out here for this warning. Same thing out here for Frenchburg and Scranton. Another downburst of winds about to occur there. Just the north of Frenchburg, heading toward Highway 1274 out there in the eastern Kentucky. So 3 severe warnings active right now, all out here in eastern Kentucky. For those of you asking about where this may hit throughout the rest of the evening, I think you're mainly looking at the line right here. So again, you just kind of connect imaginary line here. I can go to the other maps and show you, but they're really confusing to look at, so I'll just trust my line here. I think this is the area for activity. From this line to points east. Back out here to the west, you can see a random pop-up, but it's not very likely. So Madisonville, Hopkinsville, maybe even Bowling Green, Litchfield, up here toward Breckinridge County, and then going out toward Paducah, Murray, and those places out west, may not see anything else today. I just want to point that out. Would it surprise me to see a pop-up or two? No, but the likelihood is just not there. Most of the action is going to be from the moisture line to the east. So where we see the moisture line now, very clearly on radar, and then to the east. So if you're out here to the west, I don't think you have any plans that are going to be impacted today. I think the one out to the west, Ivy, is Mayfield, not Maysville. I don't know if there's a Maysville out here. I know Mayfield's out here, and then you have Maysville all the way up here. Again, Amanda, you're right on that line. It's going to be really close. I think more storms are developing now. I think what you're seeing now might be all you get. But would it surprise me to see another one that pop up behind it? No. But this is the only guaranteed line today. Pro Rancher, hello. Rumbles of thunder and light wind in central Kentucky. Thank you for that comment. Once again, if you're just now tuning in here, thank you guys for trusting WNK. We do have 3 severe warnings that are active right now. Lexington to Georgetown, you're included in a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust threat, as well as Frenchburg, Kentucky, and Sandy Hook, Kentucky. Up here to the northeast, near Carlisle, going up to Mount Olivet, Cynthiana, Flemingsburg, Maysville. No severe activity up there currently, but that is a pretty strong thunderstorm that's occurring there. Likely 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts going on with that storm there, and maybe even some small hail. Sorry, I just had to respond to that message real quick. Raleigh, thank you for the update out of Ashland. Mainly east. Mainly east are moving. Some of these are moving a little more southeast. So this line back over here to the west, that's moving east. It'll eventually turn more southeast. This line's going more southeast, and then this line's going more southeast. The easiest way to look at this and try to figure out where they're tracking that, guys, is to follow the shape of the box. So, for example, this box here is pretty much, now, obviously there's other ways you could do it, right? But the easiest way to do it is just to follow the shape of the box. And then you got this box out here that's angled like this. So it's going like that. So a pretty easy way if you ever want to, like, a quick tip on how to figure out where these things are moving. If you do see a box on your radar or on your phone, just follow that box. Yeah, so again, the main areas of activity today, I think, are from this line and then points east. So basically here to points east. Now, again, I think you see numerous storms out here. I think for folks that are along this line, this is probably the only line that you see today. So where the main activity is now, and then points to the east. So once again, like places like even Bowling Green, maybe Hopkinsville, Madisonville, Owensboro, and Breckenridge County, Litchfield, and then points west. I don't think you see very much today. Places like London, Somerset, Corbin, Richmond, Danville, Berea, Lake Cumberland area, Campbellsville, Glasgow, and then points to the east. I think that's where we see a little bit more activity today. Morgan, if you were going to see strong storms, I think you would have already seen them. You're a little bit above that line, so I don't think you're seeing too much today. Sharice, thank you for your 1,000 stars. I appreciate your kindness and that donation there. Thank you so much. Beth, thank you for sharing the broadcast on Facebook. We appreciate your help with that. I just realized I accidentally drew a 2 right here. What the heck? Okay, where's my mouse at? Let's play Find the Mouse game. There we go. Oh, my throat is just not happy. Nothing's happy with my body today. I think I'm starting to get older. My knee's hurting today, but I also already have arthritis in my knee, so that's probably just because of the rain that's moving through. Yeah, I think Richmond definitely sees some activity today. It would probably just be another hour, hour and a half or so. Versailles, you just got done with a strong. You actually just got done with a severe thunderstorm. It's actually going just to the north of you at the moment. You're kind of getting gapped in between the two storms, so you may not even see too much. Maybe on this backside, but chances of storms through about 7 to 8 p.m. for that area. Amanda, thank you for the update there out of Bruin, Kentucky. Again, Abby, it's possible, but not a guarantee. So again, it's just a matter of if these gaps fill in. So for example, like E-Town, you're right on that line. So again, you're in the moisture axis, but you're right on the line. So it's kind of a 50-50 shot whether this is it or whether you see more throughout the evening. And you don't ever hesitate to ask. Tracy, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't have the best diet, clearly. I don't have the best diet, but I have arthritis in my knee from where I tore my ACL a few years ago. Actually, almost 10 years ago. Wow, I am having old fatigue today. Katie, thank you for that. I've been keeping an eye on it. I did have a fever very briefly yesterday morning. I woke up with like just an absolutely throbbing headache and a little bit of a fever. Um, but it didn't last very long. The Tylenol took it out pretty easily. Willie, thank you for the update out of Gracie, Kentucky. Litchfield, I don't think you're going to see too much today. I don't think so. Is it possible? Yes, but my gut feeling is that you won't see too much today. Yeah, winds are gusting up to about 60 mph, Kim, so that sounds about right. Abby, thank you. Yeah, no, I probably don't have the best diet. I do. The one thing I do very well on is drink enough water. I do drink plenty of water. But and I also think today it was just so hot outside that I was just like cranky a little bit. I was trying to clean the grill up, then get the grill ready. We had some friends come over around lunchtime, and I was trying to get everything ready. And it's hot out there. It is disgusting. I don't do well with humid weather. I don't. I never have, never will. I don't like it. I don't understand why people root for summer in Kentucky because all we do is sweat our butts off and everyone stinks because of it. And I don't. Just bring me my snow. Bring me my snow. I'd much rather deal with snow in the winter than sweating like crazy in the summer. I don't cover Georgia, Jason. Joanna, thank you for your 20 stars on Facebook. I appreciate that. At a music festival in Richmond, lots of the vendors' tents have no weights. Super nervous about that. Yeah, probably need to get some weights on those because there definitely will be some wind burst that will occur there. So once again, right now on our board here, we do have strong thunderstorm activity up there toward Maysville, Flemingsburg areas in northeastern Kentucky. Not severe up there, though. I don't think it's been severe for a while. Severe warning over here towards Sandy Hook, Kentucky. That one looks to be probably the strongest storm at the moment. 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gust occurring there. Over here toward Lexington, you folks out there between Lexington and Georgetown have about a 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust severe storm going on there, pushing to the east. What about the fair? I think the fair is fine. I think the fair is fine. A lot of this is below Louisville already, and I don't think it grows on the backside too much. So I think the fair is just fine. I'm from Michigan. Kentucky summers are so rough. Yeah, and I think a lot of people have, especially like through here. I don't think Kentucky has it worse or like the worst because through here it gets really hot, really, really, really hot and humid. But you wouldn't think about that being all up there to the north, but I mean it does. But man, I just don't like summertime. I just don't like summertime. We do have a severe warning that has just been issued up here for 60 mile per hour wind gust and quarter size still. That is going to be for Maysville. Just stretching to Mount Olivet, but it's already past Mount Olivet. Sardis, Shannon, and that's going to head toward the Virginias here very soon. But once again, out here for Vanceburg, Kentucky as well. 60 mile per hour wind gust, the threat there. Yeah, Tracy. I mean, I like my thinking on everything when it comes to like seasons and what I appreciate is you can always add layers on, right? In the winter, you can only take so many layers off in the summer. And it's just I'd rather pile up on layers in the winter and look at beautiful snow than to sweat just looking out the window because it's so humid. No, I mean I don't think you're going to see any activity today. Surely there will be some activity, but I don't think we're looking at an abundance of activity in Hardin County. Someone asked about Logan County. I think you're probably just a smidge too far west of the main activity. I don't think you see a whole lot today. Western Kentucky, I don't think you see any activities today. Hot and boring. Yeah, and then people just, it's like, I don't know what is going on with our society, but people are just refusing to put deodorant on too. So summertime just stinks in Kentucky. Just stinks. It just stinks. And everyone's sweating and everyone's miserable and everyone's cranky. I don't know why people keep rooting for summer. Just bring me fall, winter. I love fall and winter. That's where I thrive. Bowling Green, I think you're and literally just by a hair, just a smidge too far west. I think, in my opinion, I don't think you're going to see too much activity. Could I see a storm or two possible? But I think the likelihood is very low. Richmond, Kentucky, you'll see strong storm activity here in about an hour or two. McKinley, I think you're just a smidge too far west for any activities today. So I think the primary threat for everyone in Kentucky, and really the only threat today, is going to be 60 mile per hour wind gust if it actually occurs in your area. Love spring. Spring's pretty good too. I like spring. The only thing bad about spring is that's the worst time for my allergies. I have really bad seasonal allergies when it comes to springtime. Morehead, Kentucky, you're seeing strong storm activity just all around you. The actual impact for your area is probably going to be in about an hour or so. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts the main threat there. Hodgeville, there's a big gap between this line down here and all the way up here. Hodgeville might just miss out on it because you're going to get gapped. Yeah, that's kind of why I made that circle there, pro ranters, because there's really only two seasons over here to the Midwest. You either get really hot or you're either get really cold. And then here, like over here toward the southeast, it's just always, 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 always humid, and I just don't like it. If I was not in Kentucky and I picked a place to live, let's see here. Someone just asked that. If I was not in Kentucky and picked a place to live, it would probably be something like Minnesota. I don't know why, but I've always liked Minnesota. I always have. They have beautiful winters. Doesn't get usually too crazy in the summer. Um, but every once in a while you get a nice storm to roll through there. It would probably be more the northern side of Minnesota, not the southern side. Probably up here to like, I don't know, maybe even like North Dakota. I don't know, something up there to the like north central portion of the United States is probably where I would live. A little bit drier air out there, not as moist. Always has a decent winter. Like I said, I'm a big fan of winter, so that's probably where I would pick if I wasn't in Kentucky. It's either there or go the complete opposite. I go down here to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because I absolutely love South Carolina. Maybe even North Carolina. I could see somewhere along this East Coast too. But yeah, Jesse, I think so. Now out here in Eastern Kentucky, you can have some pop-ups that pop up in front of the storm line, like these out here, like these out here. But the main line is really here. So once this gets past you, I don't see a whole lot behind it. I don't. That's why we're not. That's why we throughout the last couple of days we haven't really been forecasting a big time event because I don't think we're looking at hours and hours and hours of storms here. Katrina, thank you for your 500 stars. I appreciate that. Yeah, North Dakota's pretty bad. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but Minnesota would probably be my place if I didn't live here. Just on the northern side, though, not the southern side. Southern side still gets humid. Probably be up here just like north of Minneapolis. Maybe whatever this is here is St. Cloud. That would kind of be the area I would probably move to, somewhere up there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I also love Kansas for no reason. I love Kansas. They get a lot of cool storms. A lot of cool storms. It gets extremely hot there, but they get a lot of cool storms, so it's almost worth it. Here in Kentucky, sometimes it just gets really hot, miserable here, and there's also absolutely zero action happening. Because you guys know I do weather, so obviously I love storms, right? So if it's going to be hot and miserable, at least give me something to look at. Kind of like in the winter, if it's going to be extremely cold here in Kentucky in the winter, give me some snow to look at the same time. Yeah, Corey, we've been watching it. I told you that. I told you that gap would fill in. I told you it would, buddy. One advanced radar I looked at showed something popping up in about an hour for bottom of Meade heading to Hardin. Do you think that's likely? I think it's possible, Kelly. I also don't look at future radars because they're just equations that are put into an algorithm and they're terrible. Don't get me started on that. I will go on a soapbox about it. But future radars are very misleading. Absolutely. Like I told Corey, an hour or so ago, these gaps will continue to fill in over the next couple of hours. I think they will. But on the flip side of that, the reason that we're having storms today, guys, is we're having a moist axis that's kind of shaped like this. And if you look, the storms are occurring east of that axis. That axis will continue to shift east throughout the night. So eventually, people will start to get left out of the storm activity throughout the night. Yeah, DJ, I just don't like the Ohio Valley very much. If I'm being honest, I know I live here. I'll live here for the rest of my life, so I have to learn to love it. But I just don't like the Ohio Valley very much. We usually get gapped on wintertime storms unless it's I'm going to tell you when it comes to winter forecasting, it almost takes a perfect storm to get anything going in the winter here. That's why, if you're ever wondering why, not only us, but everyone in Kentucky, when it comes to forecasting, is pretty oftentimes wrong in the winter because this is actually, I'll have to go find the research that I saw, but this is actually one of the most difficult spots to forecast in during the winter because of the Ohio Valley. I don't like how we're shaped through here. Um, but it makes wintertime very very difficult, and then the summer times it's just always just humid, and I just don't like humidity. Nicholasville to Lawrenceburg, Mortonsville, you're now included in a severe thunderstorm warning once again for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. That goes for another 24 minutes. Lexington, it's just now passing over your area. That's going to head out toward Hutchinson and Winchester. Up here toward Cynthiana, going over here toward Mount Olivet, once again toward Barefoot. This secondary cell here is starting to fill in its gaps. I don't think it'll be severe because you just had one kind of tank down your energy very briefly, so this will probably just remain tamed. Over here toward Vanceburg, going up here toward northeastern corner of the state. Strong to severe thunderstorm going on there. It is now producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gust in that area. Over here towards Sandy Hook, Beetle. This one's kind of set here for a little bit. We've seen this one kind of just sit here for about the last 20 to 25 minutes. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the main threat there. Those are your severe warnings right now. Once again, if you're back out here to the western portions of the state, Owensboro, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Bowling Green, even up here toward Litchfield, Breckenridge County, going out here toward Paducah, Murray, Mayfield, I don't expect much activity for you. If you're along I-65, places like Radcliffe, Elizabethtown, Glasgow, you're right on the edge of the moisture axis. Can more storms form over you? Yes. Is it likely? No. So most of the activity is going to be where the activity is already occurring. Cherise, thank you for another 1,000 stars. Oh my goodness. That's now 2,000 stars she has sent today. Thank you for your generous donations. It's going right to baby formula. And baby formula is getting ridiculous, by the way. Ridiculous. $45 for a can of formula now. For the one that Samuel needs. Ridiculous. And there's more out there that's even more expensive than that. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Callie, it's really hard to forecast here in the summer as well. You have a lot of events that kind of just do their own thing. They're very sensitive. Like I can tell you right now, there's actually barely any energy out there. So if you look at this map right here, and this is going to look absolutely crazy, but this, so this is called bulk shear. Okay, this is wind shear. Usually for storm activity, you need this number to be over 25. You can see it's only at about a 10, and it's where the areas are stormy right now. If you look over here and look at this helicity chart, usually this number needs to be over 150, typically actually more over 200. You can see it's only at about 50. So really there's no energy out here. So summertime storms are pretty annoying as well because they can defy some of the laws, and there's other things that they can use for fuel. But yeah, pretty annoying to forecast during the summer. That's also why we don't look at future radars, because future radars have a very set parameter list, and a lot of times they're inaccurate. Hi, George. I came on late. Nothing for E-Town, right? I don't think you're looking at a whole lot. I can't say nothing is going to happen, but I don't think you're looking at a whole lot. No. Just got word that a tornado came through my barn. Well, you know what? We've been looking around at the winds, at the wind gust, and everything. We've seen a couple of downbursts, but I have seen zero rotation. So I'd have to wait for NWS to kind of get a hold of that, and maybe confirm it for you. But right now, I have seen downburst of winds, and remember, downburst of winds can cause damages. Right? The differences between downburst of winds and tornadic winds is when you have tornadic winds, usually you see limbs that are wrapped around each other. They're spun like a tornado. Downburst of winds can also rip off roofs. They can shove over tree lines and stuff as well, but they're not twisted. So absolutely, you probably saw damages, but if I had to guess, it's more from downburst of winds, not from a tornado, because we have not seen any rotation anywhere. Greene County, I don't expect a whole lot of activity for you. Could see a couple of strong thunderstorms there, but I don't expect an abundance of activity. Pro Rancher, all I can suggest is turning the bell on. If you haven't already, maybe turn it off and then back on. And then make sure your notifications on your phone are enabled for YouTube. I can't do anything about the notifications. I hate that. But it's notifications on social media apps like Facebook and YouTube are so hit and miss. They're so hit and miss. And unfortunately, I have zero control over that. Hark Honey, I'm not expecting a whole lot of activity for you either. I wouldn't change any plans today, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, Okay, going over the radar here once again. I don't want to get too skippy here, but we do still have that strong storm out here from Mount Olivet and just to the south, and Cynthiana going to the southeast now. Flemingsburg, a strong thunderstorm occurring there. Severe warning up here for Maysville going down here toward whatever the world that name is, all in Ruggles, Kentucky, in the eastern portions of the state. Over here for Sandy Hook, still have that storm just sitting there very slowly moving to the east. A strong thunderstorm out here to the Frenchburg area. All the only hazard today, guys, is going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So what we're noticing over the last 15 minutes here is the line is beginning to fill in now between basically eastern Hardin County and then out here, and then going down to the south. So that line is beginning to fill in, and this will continue to move south and east throughout the rest of the next 3 to 4 hours here throughout the state. I got you, Nika. I'm just suggesting. A lot of people when they see damages, they immediately assume tornadic. But if you go to actually assess the damages, I'll bet you it's a lot of stuff that got shoved over. If you see branches that are wrapped around each other, and if you see trees that are twisted, that is more indications of tornadic. But if you see things that are just shoved over, that's a downburst of winds. And what we've seen today on radar is just a downburst of winds. But again, that's why we caution you guys. That's why we put out these alert days. Don't let your guard down about wind, because even downburst of winds and microbursts can do several damages as well, even just as much as a small tornado sometimes. So that's why we're always cautioning you guys. And then some people are like, why are we doing alert day coverage for just winds? Because winds can cause damages too. What do you think's in a tornado that causes damages? Winds. So that's why we forecast these days like this, because again, winds can be just as damaging, even straight line, as tornadoes sometimes. Carlisle, Kentucky, once again, strong thunderstorm activity going on there, but not severe. We don't allow any promos in here, James. I'm going to suspend you for 15 minutes just to get that comment out. Yeah, I just I'm trying to bring more awareness. I don't think we have enough awareness in Kentucky for straight line wind events. And that's why people keep having so many damages. People keep getting injured during these events, is because there's not enough awareness to the fact that straight line winds can be just as damaging as low wind tornadoes. Yeah, Ashley, but I don't think we're seeing multiple rounds today. I think you can see multiple pop-ups out here for places like Danville, Richmond, Berea, out here toward Eastern Kentucky, but I don't think we're looking at, line 1, line 2, line 3. I don't think we're looking at that today. I think this is pretty much it right here. Yeah, Lisa, and you would think that after the March of 2021 windstorm that we had here, where everyone had 70 to 80-mile-per-hour winds in Kentucky, pretty much, you would think people would have learned. But it's again, we're letting our guard down too much. We're letting our guard down too much. Um, yeah, and I get it. Whenever people hear the word tornadoes, they immediately get fearful. Whenever people just hear winds, they're like, "Oh, it's just a little bit windy outside." But we have to remember that 60 to like hurricane force winds start at 76 mile per hour. So if you're seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, those are obviously very strong winds that are going to cause damages. And even higher than that, you're talking about very damaging storms. Ricky, how you doing, my friend? I'm gonna go over here to radar scope and just kind of look at some of the wind speeds once again. Man, I hate that these storms are growing out here in Eastern Kentucky today. Not because I don't like Eastern Kentucky, but because of the radar gaps that are out here. They're so bad. So here you go. Here's a perfect example. I'm glad we went over here. So today, this is what we've seen mostly. So this is a downburst. Usually, when a lot of folks see this red next to this green, they'll immediately just think rotation, which is fair. But when it's very broad like this, we have this very big circle here, like we do in Sandy Hook and just to the east. That is a downburst of winds. Basically, an area where winds may be able to be concentrated a little bit more and be able to burst through. Kind of what the name is there. Um, for a tornado to occur, what you would be looking for is a very smaller circle, so like half of this size maybe, and where the red and green are really, really tight, very bright next to each other, and almost a circle. That is more of your tornadic rotation winds. This where it's very broad like this. This is definitely just a downburst of winds, but it's still a severe storm. Muhlenberg, I don't think you see too much today. Maxwell, I do think Louisville avoids most of this today, if not all of it. Joni on YouTube, these are moving southeast. Yeah, Lisa. Luckily in Kentucky for the last few years, I think we've been mainly spared of the hail threat. I do remember there was a little stretch there. What was it? 2021 or something like that. That was a wild year. That was a very severe year. I think we had some nice hailstorms then, but I mean, I think over the last couple of years we've been pretty spared from at least from the large hail. Um, Harrisburg sirens went off, but don't know why. I'm not really sure why they went off either. There are no tornado warnings active. Yeah, Megan. I don't. I mean, I can't rule out another thunder shower popping up, but I don't think you're looking at anything severe or anything that should alter your plans. Out here for the Bardstown and Williamsburg, Springfield area, Lawrenceburg, that area is going to be undergoing a strong thunderstorm over the next 20 to 30 minutes there. Not severe right now. Could it get there? Absolutely. But at the moment, it is not severe. Just want to give you a heads up, strong thunderstorm activity on the way for central Kentucky. Yeah, I mean that's basically right. They can cause similar damages. It's just the damages will be a little bit different. So like we explained, if you ever wanted to figure out whether a tornado hit you or whether a downburst hit you, once again, if a tornado hits you, right, you have to remember that tornado is going to be spinning, so the winds are going to be spinning with it, right? So when you go outside to look at stuff, you have to look at okay, where was one thing at? So if you had a trampoline, right? And if that trampoline, if it was a downburst of winds, it would go straight in front where that storm was tracking. If it's a tornado, it might go to the left, right? Same thing with like branches, right? If branches are just laying on the ground or they're just pushed over, the trees just shoved over in one way, that's like the downburst of winds. Now, if you start seeing trees wrap themselves, let me get an example. So here's an example. I think. Let me make sure. What in the world? Trying to see if I can get an example for you. Yeah, sort of, kind of. Well, let me click on the image though, which kind of is unfortunate. I'm trying to get a good example for you. Hmm. A lot of these are kind of just meh. Why can't I zoom in on any of these images? This is going to irritate me. Here's a good example, but it's not going to let me. Here, let's just do this. Really, of course, that image is going to come out that small. This is going to be super blurry, but if you look up at the top here, you see how half of this is kind of hit, and then you have just a random tree limb up here. You would think, oh, that's just a nice burst of winds. No, that is tornado. So the tornado hit half that. The winds circled around half that tree. It bent one way, and you can see kind of the spikes up top. They're leaning to the right, while the tree limb is leaning to the left. So you have differences of where the things are leaning at. If you also look at this, in the background there, you have trees that are leaning right? And then you have this gap, and then you have tree limbs on here that are pointing left. So once again, that's indicative of rotating storms, of tornadoes. Whereas a wall of winds would just obviously shove it over. Latanya, it's basically any time between now and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but I don't think that Taylor County is going to see a whole lot. Mallory, anytime between now and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but I don't think E-Town's going to see a whole lot. Yeah, Ranger, I think we need to have more constraints on who gets to touch the tornado siren button. So many false signals. Oh, I love Waffle House. I love Waffle House. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be it for us. I don't think this warrants us being on the broadcast. We will do several radar updates. We'll make several posts. And again, if anything gets life threatening or dangerous, we will be online here with you guys. But But at this rate, I don't think. Yes, there are a couple of severe warnings, but usually when we try to do live broadcasts on alert days, it's because something is immediately like impending on your life or causing dangers. Charisse, wow, 2,000 stars. That's 4,000 stars from her today. Wow, thank you. That's generous as heck. She says, gotta go. Thank you, your team, and your family for all you guys do. Thank you so much for your kindness and for tuning in. I appreciate that. Jason asking about Bowling Green. I don't think Bowling Green sees a whole lot today. Is it going to rain here in E-Town? I don't think E-Town sees a whole lot today. All right, I think that's going to be it for us, though. I don't think we're looking at anything massive today, guys, once again. We haven't been forecasting anything massive. But there are some strong to severe storms that are possible, basically from I-65 to points east. Tonight, we'll continue to post radar updates. If anything changes or becomes super dangerous, of course, we'll be back on here live with you guys. So don't worry. You know, obviously we have your back. Program Tour, thank you on YouTube. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. We appreciate you guys. Pikeville, you are under a severe threat until, you know, about 10 p.m. Eastern time or so out there. Again, we'll post several updates for you on Twitter and on Facebook. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with WNK. Until next time, stay safe.